Welcome to another edition of Conversation with the Shipmate. I'm Petty Officer Nick Brown aboard USS Carl Vinson, operating in the Arabian Gulf. Admiral Mick Pine, good morning. Thank you for joining us today aboard Carl Vinson. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Good morning. You're looking good. You can't see his shoes, ladies and gentlemen, but he's got the shiniest shoes
He does.
that I think I've ever seen. And
Yeah.
It's a beautiful morning out here.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Now, CNO, your last conversation with the Shipmate was with the Fleet Cyber Forces Command regarding cyber warfare, the electromagnetic spectrum, and the IDC community. Now, today, we'd like to take a look into your recent position report and focus on the future of aviation, and also talk about some of the issues that you and Mick Pond are focused on.
Okay.
Now, before we get started though, I noticed that you're both wearing the FRV coveralls. Now, these are kind of new. What do you think about them? How do they feel?
Well, they're comfortable, but I don't wear them all the time. So, but what we need to do, with Mick Pond and I have been talking about this, with the sailors here with the Vinson Strike Group, they need to be durable. They have to have good utility. You know, they have enough pockets. Do they catch on things? Elbows wear too much. Do they tear too easily? This is the kind of feedback we need. We will evolve. I mean, we got about 95% of these distributed, but we bought several increments, and we will continue to do that. So what we need while we're here, and actually across the fleet, we need feedback, and we'll get this right. We'll make this an effective uniform.
Sir, where should sailors go to provide you with that feedback?
Well, how about starting with the chain of command? You know, tell their LPO, get online. Mick Pond's Facebook, my Facebook, feedback from this, it doesn't matter. We'll take all.
We'll take it
Send
all.
your letters, your notes, your texts. We'll take it. Tweet.
Great. And Mick Pond, we have the FRV coveralls here aboard Carl Vinson, but some of the other ships in the fleet haven't received them yet. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the future is, what the rollout plan is for the rest of the ships in the fleet?
Yeah, we'll continue to issue the FRVs to units that are getting ready to deploy. It's a supply challenge. They're making them as fast as they can, and we'll get them to the ships that need them just prior to deployment until everybody's outfitted.
Mick Pond, what feedback have you heard from the fleet about the coveralls so far?
Well, I had a opportunity last night to talk to about 300 or so chiefs. And if you want to talk to critics, talk to 300 chiefs. And they told me that by and large they like it, as the CNO just mentioned, with a few practical modifications that they talked to me about, and maybe a somewhat different fabric, slightly different fabric. I think we're pretty close to having a uniform that everybody can be real happy with, which in and by itself is pretty amazing, because I've never seen in 30 years, you know, all of our sailors happy with the working uniform that we have. And so if we almost accidentally bumped into a uniform that most of our sailors are pretty happy with a few modifications they're going to be real happy with, why not pursue it? So we're taking that feedback. We'll go back and see what it takes to make that happen.
Now, the modifications that you mentioned and that the Admiral mentioned, it almost sounds like you described something similar to like a flight suit. Is that anywhere close to what we might be moving toward?
Well, I would tell you, when you look at the traditional sea bag blue coverall, when you look at this coverall and you look at some of the features of the flight suit and you put all three of those together, you come up with a pretty good uniform. You know, the Velcro belt maybe, like the flight suit has, some pockets, the weight of the blue coverall, the fire resistant properties of this coverall. Maybe you have to do something to create the knees and elbows so that they're a little bit more durable. But when you put all three together as a hybrid, you come up with a pretty good product. So I think we'll take a look at that and see where it takes us.